to all my Flosstube neighbors out there. Welcome. I am Chris, and this is XrossStitch. And this is a channel about cross-stitching primarily. Along the way, you're going to get some stories and some hopefully funny anecdotes about me and my crazy life mixed in with the stitching. But primarily, I'm a cross-stitcher. Welcome if this is your first time to my channel. If you are a returning viewer, bravo to all of you. Thank you. I say I have the best viewers on Flosstube, and I mean it more and more every single week. Thank you for returning. If you're new, I hope you like what you see. I hope you click the like button, click the bell, click subscribe so that you can keep coming back and seeing what I have to offer for you. And if you're a returning viewer, sit back, put your coffee down, just in case it might go out your nose. I'm not going to do a full disclaimer this time, but some of you were so funny because you said when I did the disclaimer that you needed a disclaimer for the disclaimer. Anyway, that made me happy. But yes, this is Flosstube number 8, and it is July. I've got a rye whisker. This thing's a lot of work. Flosstube 8, July 6th, 2021. I did it. July 6th, 2021. And today is going to be kind of I'll be honest with you, today is a little bit of a piecemeal day because I really primarily only stitched on 3 pieces this week. But before we get into the stitching, I want to just have a little, catch-up business. Funny comments. You guys are amazing commenters, and I love it so much. Some of you are now reaching out more on Instagram, which you're welcome to do. Some of you are emailing me directly, which you're welcome to do. Both my Instagram and my email are in the show notes below. I love it. I write back to all the comments. I write back to all my direct messages and all my emails. I love this interaction. I love this neighborhood that we're creating. And, or rather that's already been established that I am a newcomer too. But I love it. So keep that coming. But occasionally I will get a comment that will just tickle me to death. And last week I was talking about the little golden books, and which so many of you responded to, having grown up with them yourself and having your children read them and your grandchildren read them. But Juanita, one of my viewers, Juanita, gave me a great comment. I remember the little golden books. I had one favorite. If I had to translate the title into English, it would be something like The Splatter Kittens in Coloring Land. The Splatter Kittens in Coloring Land. Makes you wonder what they were painting with. The only other thing that I'd like to bring up is that there should, I said I never knew how important magnets were going to be to me once I started foraying back into the cross-stitch world, and many of you wrote and told me what kind of magnets I needed to get for the edges of my fabric to hold tension. Some of you have recommended tensioneers. Some of you told me to get the magnet silicone ties, which I got. I'm going to end up having both of them, I think. But there's a hazard when you are working with these magnets. It's warm here in Southern California, and frequently I will be cross-stitching in my shorts, my little khaki shorts, and I never knew how painful a magnet is when attached to one's leg hair. Removal is not a breeze. Let's just put it that way. I dropped one, it caught right, bad. Last week, I did a little bit of a question and answer segment at the beginning, and I'm going to do it again this week, but I'm only going to answer one question. Actually, it came from 3 different people, but it's one overall question. And I had told this viewer that I was going to answer it in my last video, and I didn't because it's a little bit longer of an answer, and I wanted to give it the time that it deserved. So my viewer Carol N, along with another viewer, Angela S. Carol asked, have you decided to retire from the theater? If so, what are you doing instead? Or is it just that you aren't doing theater because of the pandemic? And Angela, different question, different comment, but along those lines, what made you give up entertaining full time? I haven't decided to completely retire because I mean, I don't think one does. I had a very dear man, one of my vocal professors, and a friend, a colleague as a performer, back in Birmingham, Alabama, once said, you know, you can try to run away from this world, but you end up always running back, it seems. And that's very true. I traveled with shows and did regional theater and danced all over the place for, you know, the better part of, from the time I was 18 and first started working professionally until, you know, just a few years ago. And I had a very varied and wonderful career working with amazing people, seeing wonderful places. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy to wrap that up in a little package and put it on the shelf. For one reason, when you're primarily a dancer, you do have a shelf life, and you know, I can't do now what I did when I was 22. The body just doesn't work that way. I can still move well. I certainly can still sing, and I can still act. So I wouldn't say that I'm completely going to retire, but I've done it. There's not a whole lot more that I want to do, but I certainly would do. It's just for right now, you know, the world has changed and I've changed, and I want to focus on different things. I'm not exactly sure what those are right now, but I'm not saying I won't ever again, but for now, I think I'm good. And certainly this outlet with you is a wonderful outlet. I don't necessarily perform when I'm doing this. I'm just kind of me. And this is how I normally am, which is frightening. But I hope that answers your question. So, and the follow-up, what made you give up entertaining full time? Just a variety of all those things. You know, the pandemic it certainly added to it, but you know, your life changes and you begin focusing on different things. So as I said, I only really worked on 3 pieces this week. And rather than just showing those 3 pieces, if you're new to this channel, I wanted to very quickly do a very small whip parade because maybe if this is the first time seeing, you don't know all the projects I'm working on. It's not going to take that long because I'm so new back into this, I don't have that many works in progress. But here is my mini whip parade, and whip is work in progress, if that's a new word for you. It's not a it's a work in progress. First is my basket of cherries by Blackbird Designs. This is on linen, and of course all the notes for what I'm working this on and how I'm doing it, what threads I'm using, what count it is, etc., will be below. Basket of Cherries is my first linen piece, and it's small. I just haven't touched it because I've been focused on other things. That's number 1. The second is I'm doing the Quaker Christmas stitch along with the vintage stitcher Artie and the proper stitcher Annie. Many of you are doing that, and it's a very robust stitch along that's occurring, but this is where I am with that. Again, I haven't picked that up in a little bit because I've been focused on some other things. I'm doing one of the Prairie Schooler Santas. I'm doing the 2021 Prairie Schooler Santa. That is started, and I enjoy it very much. I just haven't worked on it. Haven't worked on that one recently. I'm doing a full coverage piece, and this is something that I showed at the very beginning of my Flosstube journey, and I haven't showed it since because I haven't brought it out yet. But this is a pattern based on Alphonse Mucha's, hear how I did that? Mucha. Alphonse Mucha's Winter, one of the 4 seasons. It's beautiful. I just haven't pulled it out yet. It's hard to stitch on this when it's so blooming hot outside. And then the first work in progress that I'm actually going to show you today is, this is a chapter finish. I mentioned last week that I had begun the next chapter of the Wizard of Oz Secret Stitch Along by Satsuma Street. We will not receive the next chapter until this coming Thursday, but I completed the chapter, and here it is. This panel was so much fun to do. Everything is fully done now. I had my canvas rolled up, so I was, very happy about announcing these chapter finishes that I was doing, and I forgot that I still had like an inch down here to stitch of the border, and a little of the back stitching to do on the clouds below, but because it was rolled up, I'd forgotten all about it. But this is completely 100% chapters finished now. Chapter 1 being the border and the cloud corners, Chapter 2 being Glenda and the Munchkins, Chapter 3 being Dorothy and the rest in the poppies, and now Chapter 4 with the Witch of the West and the Flying Monkeys. This one didn't take nearly as long as the other 2 did. There were fewer elements in it, but it was so much. I love this so much, and I love how it looks, and I love how it's going to look. I'm just really pleased with it. I took this off my frame because I wanted to put, I needed it for something else, which you'll see in a second. But this is a chapter finish, and I'm so excited about it. It's so pretty. I love it, I love it, I love it. As you know, I am running a hashtag #SpookySummerStitch all summer long. Started this several videos ago, and it was going to be Halloween in June, and we're just going to keep doing it all throughout the summer. Many of you are joining that. More and more people are as it starts getting further into the summer, and as people start picking up more Halloween stitching, which is awesome. I'm still seeing some great patterns, and I love it. I love all the participation. So my other 2 whips that I'm going to show you are Spooky Summer Stitches, and these were the other 2 that I worked on this week. As I said, I only worked on 3 pieces. I focused on the Wizard of Oz Secret Stitch Along because I don't want to get behind with it. And I focused on more work on HILDE'S Hayride, and I finished the Toad. I finished Horace the Toad. So this, I would predict, is going to be a finish next week. All I have left to do is this remaining border in this Threadworks Honky Tonk variegated, which I absolutely adore. So much fun. And then I have a few little elements. I have a few more stars and the moon and a bat. But this will be finished next week. I feel pretty certain that this will be finished next week. And then I have to start figuring out what I'm going to do to FFO it, to fully finish it. But HILDE'S Hayride. This is so much fun. So whip number 2 of this week. And then what I focused mostly on, aside from the Wizard of Oz Secret Stitch, this mustache whisker. I'm not picking my nose, you guys. I promise you. It's this. There's one little hair that's going awry. The other piece that I really focused on this week, aside from the Wizard of Oz Secret Stitch Along, and Hilda, which that didn't take me long at all. I finished that Toad last night. I wanted to get it done for today, so I just sat down and knocked it out. But the other piece that I really focused on this week I made this big fanfare about showing my start last week, and it was just a little blob. But it's Glendon Place's Sleepy Hollow. And again, the fabric information will be below. This is I have it right here. This is a Wichelt 28 count hand-dyed Jobelan. It's in Stormy gray. And this is 2/2. And I'm using the called for DMCs, and there are other things mixed in here, but I just haven't gotten to them yet. I got tired of working in 310 and 37.99 and all the shades of gray, but as you can see, I have a really good start on the horse's back legs, but I got tired of doing that dark stuff, so I moved on to beginning the greens in the ground. And I'm loving this. I love stitching on this particular fabric. So I'm going to be doing more. I can see myself really turning into an even weave stitcher as opposed to a linen-y stitcher, because I just love the way this feels. It's not necessarily that much easier on the eyes, to be fair, but it's just a little bit more uniform, and I really like that. So there's my third work in progress is Glendon Place's Sleepy Hollow, and I'm enjoying it so much. I'm gonna keep pushing forward with this, I'm sure. So it's time for the Wheel of Stories. I'll be honest with you. I feel a little bit badly. And I know what you're going to do. You're going to write in the comments and you're going to tell me not to worry about it, but I do. I worry that I only have 3 things to show. You know, because I don't want you to get bored or if you're new, say to yourself, oh, well, this is supposed to be about cross stitch and he's just talking about, growing up in Alabama. But you enjoy it. You seem to enjoy it. So today we are going to spin the Wheel of Stories, Christopher's Wheel of Stories, and I'm going to give you a story. Let's hope it's a good one. I don't make these up beforehand. This is not like written material. I don't know if it will be funny or it'll go over, like a lead balloon. But we're just going to spin the wheel and we're going to see what we get. And hopefully I will like it and it won't be a repeat. Granny and the Possum. Granny and the Possum. Well, now, if I'm going to tell the story of Granny and the Possum, I've got to talk a little bit about my grandmother. Because my grandmother raised me. My grandmother, in essence, was my mother. And, it's hard to talk about her. I mean, it's not hard to talk about her, but it's, I am not going to get emotional 2 videos in a row, but she was an amazing woman. Just amazing. She was probably 70 when I was, let's see. She was 69 when I was born. And she raised me pretty intently until I left for college. Boy, she was a steel magnolia if ever there was one. But there were a few things that could frighten her. My grandmother could see a snake in our backyard. We lived on a creek, and every now and then there would be a water moccasin that would come up on the back porch or in the backyard, and she'd get that hoe and chop it into pieces before you could spit on the floor. But furry things bothered her. So one day it was late in the afternoon, it was probably getting towards dark, and we had a long house with a central hallway. And the kitchen and the back porch, which was, it was called the back porch, but it was really the utility room. It was enclosed, it was a room, but we called it the back porch for some reason. Had a screen door on it that we would leave open a lot. And one night, it was before dinner time, or after, I don't remember, but it was getting toward dark. And I heard her screaming bloody murder and come tearing down the house, yelling for me to call the police, Christopher, call the police, call the police. And I'm like, why are we calling the police? And, you know, I was a young teenage boy, so I wasn't afraid of anything really at that point. I mean, what was there to be afraid of in Alabama except, you know, poison oak and, you know, stepping in chewing tobacco? I could not understand why Granny wanted us to call the police. First of all, there were only 2 in the town. And at any given time, there was really only 1. But and I was unafraid of anything, although it was unusual for her to be behaving in such a manner. But I went back to the, you know, to the kitchen, and there on the kitchen table was a possum, helping itself to the pecans that we were, or whatever it was that were on the table. I say pecans because it seemed like there were always pecans on our table. A bowl, you know, just and it was just chowing down on whatever it was eating. And you know, she came up behind me and she's like, we got to, you know, call the police so they can come get it. And I'm like, Granny, I'm not going to call the police. I'm not going to call the police to get a possum off the kitchen table. That said, I didn't know how I was going to get the possum off the kitchen table. So I got the broom and went in, and possums are not afraid of you. They are not afraid of you if they are eating, and they are not afraid of you if they are big, and they are especially not afraid of you if they are an Alabama possum. Now, I've had possums in my yard here. These are California possums. California possums are pushovers. Alabama possums are formidable. You can ride them like ponies. And I went towards it with the broom to you know, squish it off the table, and it reared up on its hind legs and it growled and hissed at me. And that's when I considered calling the police. The police. But no, I was undeterred. I had the broom, and I got it off the table, and I got it out of the back door and out the back porch, and you know, it didn't come back. But anyway, there's no great denouement to that story. I got the broom, I got the possum off the table, and I got it out the back door, and needless to say, from that point on, Granny kept the back door latched. Just very quickly, a little bit of gratitude. Thank you so much for pushing me over the 1,000 subscribers mark, and thank you for continuing to push me ever closer to the 2,000 subscribers mark. I think when this morning I was at 1.83, so we're in spitting distance, as they say, of 2,000 subscribers, and once I hit that, we're going to do another good giveaway. However, I would like to mention someone who is also so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. I think she has 800 and something. And she is absolutely wonderful. Please check out, for my under 1,000 subs club today, check out Jenni Stitching Simply. Jenni Stitching Simply. She's fantastic. Her son edits her videos most of the time, and has some great, well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what he does, but it's very entertaining. And she does beautiful, beautiful stitching, and is lovely. So check out Jenni Stitching Simply. Thank you to my fellow Flosstubers who continue to mention me. This week, I am a little bit behind on watching my my subscriptions. So I'm going to do that, and I may have more thank yous next week, but just a blanket thank you of gratitude to other Flosstubers, to all of you who are watching. I really do appreciate it, and I can't wait to hit 2,000 and to do another giveaway. It'll be awesome. So this week I didn't have any haul. I have a few things that are on their way, but I just haven't received them yet. This week has been a little bit odd. I've been distracted by some life stuff. I haven't done quite as much stitching as I wanted to. So I don't have as much, I didn't order anything. I didn't even really download anything. So no haul. Today is a haul-free day, and that's really it. That's today's Flosstube. I hope that it was enjoyable. I'm sorry if it was a little bit disjointed or discombobulated, but hopefully next week it will be a little bit more streamlined. I won't be interrupted, and I'll have more to show you. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being a loyal viewer. And I hope that you have a great week. I hope that you do some great stitching. And until next week, on the same stitch time and same I flubbed the goodbye. Same stitch time, same stitch channel. This is XrossStitch. Take care. Bye-bye.